grade. So I know that last week was a little much. Um, when I was planning that, I guess I didn't take into account how long it would take you to do the reading that would require you to answer the questions. So I'm sorry that I didn't quite give you enough time. So we're going to make that due on Tuesday. But I would like to go ahead and get a start on kind of the next phase of things. That is a project called Greekified Disney, where basically we're taking what we've learned about the Greeks and Greek tragedy, and we are going to be converting a familiar Disney movie into a Greek tragedy. So what I did is I took off of the It's All Greek to Me slide, I took off that final activity, and we're going to make that the first activity on the Greekified Disney project. So what you're going to be doing is you are going to work either in a group by yourself or in pairs or trios. So it's up to you. You can't go more than 3 just because it ends up being where, some group members don't do anything then. You know what I mean? So too big of a group there's more tendency for people to get off task. So, but I would ideally like for everybody to be in a group. So anyway, think about that when you're watching this video. Think about who you'd like to be with. I did get some recommendations from a couple of people. And so what we'll do is we'll be working in breakout rooms during class then for the foreseeable future. And I'll kind of pop in those breakout rooms and just to so you guys can talk one-on-one, and then you guys can be working and writing together, okay? So each person will have, their own script, but you're working on writing it together, okay? So what you're going to do first. Okay, so starting on Tuesday, you're going to be working in these groups. And what you're going to do is you're going to choose one of the following Disney movies. Okay, so you've got all kinds of choices: Lion King, Little Mermaid, Finding Dory, Snow White, Frozen, Aladdin, etc., etc., etc. And what I will provide for you is synopsi, so the summaries of what these Disney movies are about. However, that it should only be a reference. If you have not seen that Disney movie ever, don't choose that one. Like, you really should be really familiar with that plot. And if a member of your group hasn't seen that Disney movie, don't choose that one either, okay? So you really need to make sure that you are choosing a Disney film that you all 3 or both know very well, okay? And have seen the movie of, all right? So your first step is going to be to create an outline of that Disney film. And so that's where that what was the final activity for our It's All Greek to Me, that's where that comes in. And so what you see on that assignment is that on one side it has Cinderella, okay, broken up into the parts of a Greek tragedy, and you are going to use that as a reference to break up your Disney film in the other side of the column into Greek tragedy, okay? And so that's going to be the basics for your script, okay? That's going to be your outline. So then you're going to move on to actually writing the script. And what I've provided for you is a template. So it lets you know, okay, here is the prologue, and here's what the prologue is, by the way, like as a reminder, okay? And then you're going to write the lines for your prologue, okay? And you want to keep in mind who all of those different characters are, right? So you've got your chorus members, and you have your chorus leader, okay? And then you have 2 to 3 actors that are playing all of these roles, okay? So you can't have scenes where there are more than 3 people in it, right? And so you're going to want to use the template. Now, if I'm in a group by myself, that's fine. But if I'm in a group with 2 or 3 other people, we should choose one of our scripts to write on, okay? And then share that script with those other people so that we're all typing on the same document, okay? So like if I'm in a group with Scott and Jack, okay, we're going to maybe use my document, but I'm going to share it to Scott's email and share it to Jack's email so that when they open up that document, okay, that's the one we're using. Okay, so we're not using Jack's and we're not using Scott's, we're going to use mine. Okay, so that we are all typing on the same document so that I can work on the prologue, okay, where Scott starts working on episode 1 and Jack starts working on episode 2. So we kind of are separating the work. So we're not one person is typing and the other two people are like, so we kind of spread it out. All right, so your script needs to, number one, be grammatically correct. So that's part of the rubric. So you need to make sure that if you see any of those like red squiggly lines, that you fix it, okay? You need to make sure that it's in proper script format where the character is in bold and then what the character says. If there are stage directions, it needs to be in parentheses and italics, okay? And so the script template will help you with that as well, kind of like hold your hand through it. And that's why I provided that template because, it was a little hard the first time we did this project for people to kind of get the handle of. So that's what, Anyway, one of the big things and why we're using Disney films is that you know the story of Disney films already, and you know the songs to Disney films. So you want to use those song lyrics to your advantage, okay? The chorus was always singing, and so you're not going to like copy the lyrics from like, Let It Go and plop that into your Disney film, right? But you might have, several lines of those lyrics as, what the chorus sings, so maybe Elsa and Anna have this conversation, and then Elsa runs off, and then the chorus starts, says, let it go, da 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 da, and then that's, kind of the end of that episode, right? And so the chorus is commenting on the action, right? So use those songs to your advantage, okay? You don't have to reinvent the wheel here, okay? But again, you don't want to use the whole song. You're not going to, in your 2 to 5 minute, Greek tragedy that is an adaptation of these, you're not going to spend a whole 2 or 3 minutes singing one song, right? You got to cut it down. Anyway, so you want to make sure that you edit and review your script, okay? Making sure that you're hitting all of those different things and that you're telling your whole story. Dang it. I had this like taped up so that now it's just going to have to be like that. Okay. Roll with the punches, right? What was I talking about? You want to make sure that you tell the whole story, okay? So if I'm going with the example of Frozen, I need to make sure that I'm not just stopping when Anna meets Olaf, right? Like, you have to tell the whole thing of how then they, went to the glass palace and this happened and that happened and here's how it, But again, remember that you're going to be changing the ending slightly to make it tragic, okay? So you want to think, how can you do that for it to work with the story, right? You can't have like, and then aliens came down and they took Anna off to their icy planet. Like it can't be like that. Okay. So that's what we're doing the rest of the week, okay, is really concentrating on writing that script, okay, and making sure that's following that structure. So starting next Monday is when you're going to plan and begin filming your Greek tragedy. Now, obviously, you can't rehearse together particularly well. You can read through it on Zoom and such. But you want to think about how you're going to separate things out to film it, okay? Now, there's an advantage to being, on the computer and a disadvantage, right? If you're having a scene with somebody, I have to be talking here and then new clip, and then the other person talking here, right? Unless you decide that you are comfortable meeting up to film. Now, if you're going to do that, I need to see you wearing masks. Now, whether or not your family, it is, you are supposed to be in public wearing masks when you're not around people that live in your house, okay? So if you are going to get together to film, I need for you to follow those guidelines, okay? If you are not going to be wearing a mask, you need to be way far apart from each other. So I don't see the point in filming together, okay? But, yeah. Yeah. So you should try and film outside if at all possible. Then, you're not inside with all the, recycled air and such. So if you're filming together, if you're going to film your parts and then your partner's going to film their parts and then you're going to edit it all together, fine. And you want to make sure that when you're filming the chorus parts, that the chorus stuff needs to be said in unison, okay? So you probably want to do that when you're both on Zoom, and then you can record the Zoom session, and, so that, to me would seem like the best way to film this would be to record a Zoom session. Dang it. This is like falling down as I do this. Record your Zoom session, okay, and then you can like slice it and dice it. You can cut this part and that part and whatever. So anyway, you are allowed to use scripts, but if you're going to be filming on your computer, you can have your script on one side and then be filming, so you can kind of see, and yeah, so that's one advantage of this. All right, so the kind of designated days for editing is next Thursday and Friday, so the 15th through the 16th, okay? So it's going to be really important that you take the time to edit this together, and that you're kind of separating the work, all right? So if your partner is really, really good at editing, make sure that you have, written a little bit more of the script, like so that it's a little bit separated, so it's not like one person is doing, all of this work. All right, so then between Friday, October 16th and Sunday, October 18th is when I need for you to submit your project, okay? We will show these on Monday, October 19th in class, okay, on Zoom. So we will kind of watch them together, okay? Now, if yours is not ready, that's a problem, okay? This is a firm deadline. I don't have very many firm deadlines, so this one has got to be done at this point, okay? So that's why I'm kind of giving you the weekend as kind of like wiggle room here. I don't like to give homework over the weekends, but it's just kind of, it's however you guys get her done is up to you, okay? So that is your Greekified Disney project, and these have turned out really, really cool in the past. So I'm really excited to see how that works with you guys. Now, I did mention something earlier on about costumes. So having a costume for your character is part of the grade, but again, it doesn't need to be something that is gone out and bought. Please don't do that. So for instance, if I'm going to be Mulan, okay, I might try and wear like, like a light green shirt, or if I'm her in the army, I might wear like a black shirt and try and put some red on somewhere. It can, as long as you're kind of alluding to who you are, right? So like if I was going to dress up like Dorothy, which is not an option by the way, but if I was going to dress up like Dorothy, I might like braid my hair into 2 pigtails, and I might try and have like blue and white on, so something that like suggests it, but it's not like I'm going to go out and buy a $40 Dorothy costume. Like, it's not necessary, okay? I think that's all I need to tell you.